Don't negotiate salary, negotiate your career.
Why is that?
Salary pays your bills. It doesn't build your career. And so empathy is about how does the other side see it. So you go in asking for a higher salary. Number one, what did you just ask for? I want to get paid more and do the same amount of work. How does that sound to a boss?
I think it could sound appealing if the person is willing to walk away and said, hey, I'm going to give my 2 weeks notice.
Wait a minute. It could sound appealing. I work for you. I've been working for you for a year. And I come to you and I say, look, I want to get paid more for the same amount of work.
I think it depends on the leverage that employee has. If that employee is irreplaceable.
That never sounds good.
It doesn't
because
sound
what
good,
I just said to you is that what I want is going to make your business less profitable. How do you like that?
I would look at it objectively and just say,
you would, really? How many employees do you have?
Well, really just not, I wouldn't even call Jack an
so
employee.
You would encourage anybody that works for you to ask for more money and do no more work.
I'm not saying they would get it, but I'm saying if they have.
Wait. Now we're. You said you'd look at it objectively and then reject.
Yeah. So but here's where I would be on it.
Just said?
In a way, here's where I would be on it. If someone comes and they're irreplaceable and they say, hey, I need XYZ or I will stop. There's going to be a point.
So what's your relationship if your irreplaceable employee threatens you like that?
At a certain point, it just doesn't make sense anymore. But
no, that's not what I asked you.
Yeah.
What's your relationship with that employee if they got to come in and make that kind of a threat?
I think it just depends on the context and
what context is it not bad?
It's not bad.
How are you looking out for them? How are you mentoring them? How are you growing them? If they got to come up to you and say, "Give me a raise or I quit," which is a threat, they have to get more money out of you by threatening you. What's your relationship with them?
I would hope that it would be.
I would hope. Hope is a drug, not a strategy.
So the alternative is what? Pay the person the maximum that you could possibly pay?
Salary doesn't build your career. It pays your bills. Salary is a contract for what you've done in the past, what you agreed to do. So we had an agreement as to what you were going to do and how much I was going to pay you for it. And so you're coming to me a year later and you're telling me that agreement's flawed.
Right.
So what kind of a relationship have we got?
So is the better alternative to say, we can work
Salary
on this?
Pays your bills. It doesn't build your career.
So it's better to go and say, hey, I'm willing to do this on top of it.
Find out. No. Don't offer it because you don't know for sure what the boss needs.
Yeah.
So this is a great question, first of all. And the way I'm reacting to you is because I want people to really think this through, because empathy is about how's the other side reacting? How do they see it? Now, the vast majority of employees only walk into the boss's office to get more. That doesn't say every time you walk into the boss's office, you're not asking for more for yourself. But how common do you think it is for an employee to walk in and say, boss, how can I do more for the same amount of money?
Right.
Nobody says that. So bosses, employers are conditioned because they're human, that employees are selfish. Because you don't walk into the boss's office and say, hey, look, I want you to know, I think you're doing a great job. Consequently, still pay me the same amount of money. How can I take on more responsibility? Because that's the only way you make the company more profitable. If you're in there for salary, but then the game changing question: walk into the boss's office and say, how can I be guaranteed to be involved in projects that are critical to our strategic future? Now, what do you think the reaction to that is?
Very positive.
Yeah, and why? Because I want to be a team player. I don't want to be a diva. I want you to have a better life. If they're critical to our strategic future, I didn't come in here to make my life better. I came in here to make our life better. And I want to play in a big game. Now, first of all, you got to mean that. Like, there are a lot of people that do not want to play in a big game. They want to do the same amount of work. They want to show up almost on time. I don't want to actually be on time. I want to almost be on time. And I don't actually want to stay to 5. I want to kind of make it seem like I stay to 5. And that's a lot of people. They're not looking to really make everybody's life better. Like, you got to want to play in a big game. A friend of mine's head of an international bank. The head of an international bank. And that has been his question in every job that he's walked into and every annual review. He wants to consistently be involved in the most important projects going. Want to help in what will matter to everybody. Now, has that made him immune in his career? No. Things have still gone bad for him. Nothing makes you immune. What you want to work is what's going to work more than anything else. He and I grew up in the same small town, went to the same high school. He went to a smaller school than I did, which means no alumni connections. His degree was underwhelming. Tiny little school in Missouri you never heard of, so you're not going to be impressed. Like, Harvard? You went to Harvard? Whoa, that's a tough school to get into. And you got a great alumni network, and you got all these connections, and theoretically you learned a lot. That ain't the school he went to. Head of an international bank. Very high emotional intelligence. Is consistently involved in making everybody's life better around him. And has not been immune from career pitfalls. I'm giving his sales training to a company on Zoom during the pandemic. All the sales team and the CEO was there. And in front of the CEO, one of the people says, how do we get more money out of this guy? How do we negotiate a raise with him? And he's right there. And I know everybody's holding their breath, waiting to see what I'm going to say. And I say, this is what you do. You walk into his office and say this and mean it. How do I be involved in projects critical to our strategic future? And before anybody could say a word, he said, I wish everybody would walk into my office and say that. That's how you get welcomed into the boss's office. Now, one of a couple things happen. You might not get involved in a critical project, but you've signaled to the people that lead your organization that you want to make a contribution. And they're going to start paying attention to you. And if you're not ready, you've told them that you want to be there, so they're going to want to see how coachable you are. Can they get you ready? That's one possibility. Another possibility, they'll throw you in a game, which means you better want it. Like, a lot of people say, I want to be an A player, but they're not willing to do A player work. I'm on time. I'm almost on time. The A players are in the office usually at least 10 minutes early. Show up for meetings early. They're never late. Like you could set your watch based on their predictability. That's what an A player does. They never show up late. Sorry, ran over, traffic. Yeah, no. If it was traffic, you'd have told us 15 minutes ago, because 15 minutes ago, you knew you couldn't be here on time. So you get in a big game, got to be ready to go. Or what, you get in a big game, and a year later, they don't give you a dime for it. What happened? You just have career accomplishments that have made you more marketable, and the boss that doesn't appreciate you, and there are plenty of companies out there that do not appreciate their employees. Walk. That's when you walk. Because if they don't want to actually pay you what you're worth, and they don't want to give you opportunity, these are bad strategies, and this company is coming to an end somewhere along the line. Somebody's going to buy them. They're going to go bankrupt, likely going to be bought and taken over by somebody else. And what happens every time a company is bought and taken over? Vast majority of the people there are either shown the door or hit the door in the first year, which means that your time there is coming to an end anyway. You might as well pad your resume with accomplishments, which makes you more marketable to the employee that's going to appreciate the fact that you did that. They're not all going to appreciate you.
Yeah.
But you gotta remember, salary pays your bills. It doesn't build your career. As soon as you want to build your career collaboratively with your employer, now that's a whole different world. And you may not end up the head of an international bank, or you're going to do well.